Let's talk about the ownership situation, my friend. And fair to say, since I was last live anyway, things have started to move. News has started to come out. Whilst there's a lot of people currently saying, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? It's very hard, mate, to form an absolute opinion without all of the information available.
Yeah, I never like to get engrossed in rumors and such, especially with transfers, because I feel like 9 times out of 10 it leaves you kind of disappointed. But the aggressiveness and rate at which these are popping up, it seems very, very, very real. But yeah, since I think last night especially, just more and more stuff has been coming out, people en masse reporting things, and yeah, it's looking very legit at the moment.
So what got me, Paddy, is I'm sure you've seen this as well. There was a post on Twitter that showed a picture of Mohamed Salah, Rami Abbas, and Nasser Al Khalifi, and a few others sitting around the table. And apparently, it was after the Brentford game. They went on in the post underneath to say originally it was aimed to bring Mohamed Salah to PSG, but PSG and Qatar project is apparently going to end in 2024. And now Mohamed Salah will be one of the pillars of the Qatar project at Liverpool. That's what this post said. Now, there's a couple of things here we have to unpack. Firstly, one of the first things that popped into my head, Paddy, when I heard about a potential new owner and it being Qatar was what's the situation with the Champions League? Because we know with the Red Bull situation, they had to get a bit creative. So I was questioning how can Qatar potentially own Liverpool Football Club and Paris Saint-Germain at the same time? If that is true about 2024, kind of gives a bit more clarity.
Yeah, it is. Obviously, it's very intriguing. Like that's what when I first heard Qatar, I was like, well, surely they can't be involved because, of course, they already own PSG. But it would make sense for that PSG project to come to an end because they already have Messi, they have Mbappe, they have Neymar. How much better can that really get? And I think when you're in the league, you can only get a certain level of legitimacy. So while it's been good for their wishes so far, I think they need to go to the next step, and the Premier League club is the likely one. And Liverpool don't come on the market all the time, so from their point of view, it's a no-brainer. But yeah, I don't think they would actually be allowed own the majority of Liverpool. I'm sure they could come on aboard in a fraction, so maybe that could be the initial idea, and then when the 2023 comes to an end, or 2024, sorry, then they could take it all. But yeah, from their point of view, Liverpool are a perfect club, and Mohamed Salah being the Arabic, or the Arab icon he is of the Arab world and the Arabic speaking world, he's a great pillar, and it would tie into that massively.
So the first thing, Paddy, that I want to put to you is if this is true, and if Qatar are going to buy Liverpool Football Club and ditch Paris Saint Germain, what's to stop it from happening to us?
Well, I suppose there isn't anything to stop it, but they've been at PSG for circa 10 years now. So, I mean, I think given 10 years of service to a club probably would be a good stint. FSG are pretty much similar. So, you could take it. I mean, 10 years of that level of money at the club would, whether people like it or not, do a lot of good. Obviously, the legitimacy of it and where it's coming from will have to be questioned and verified. But I mean, 10 years for an ownership group wouldn't be a bad stint, I don't think.
I would be very interested to see how they back out of PSG as an example, because it must be a particularly difficult club to value if you're looking to sell, because a lot of the value brought to Paris Saint-Germain has been
Mm.
from the owners and the players that they've funded and brought in. So I'd be interested to see which way, if they do back away from PSG, how they do it.
Obviously, the allure of PSG and how popular they are is because of the limitless money they have. I don't know how attractive PSG are as an entity, because I think if the Qataris can't do reach the end game with them, then who can? So it'll be a very turbulent time for PSG fans. It's very, very, very intriguing indeed, because I don't think there is a world in which they can own both. So they would have to back out of PSG. But then again, they have that much money. Like they spent 200 billion or something crazy on World Cup stadiums, that a lot of them are going to be gone. So I don't think they mind squandering a few quid, because they have that much in excess.
So I guess the next question is, how legitimate is this interest and is this offer? Because right now, there are a lot of Liverpool fans on social media twerking at the idea of Qatar coming and buying Liverpool. And a lot of Liverpool fans have spent a long time slagging PSG, Manchester City, for their ownership type and the money they've splashed. So I'm very, not pessimistic, that's not the word. I'm very inquisitive and I want to know definitively where all this stands before I can give my full opinion. Because right now we have conjecture and there is the possibility of this all falling into dust and rack and ruin, and a lot of Liverpool fans looking very silly and unable to potentially ever criticize anybody else for how they go about their projects, how they're funded, how much money they spend. So right now I'm nervous about it, but I'm just waiting to get more information before I can really give you 100% of my opinion.
It's always hard to manufacture an opinion based on rumors. It'd be nice. It'd be nice if we just had clarity either way, or someone came out and genuinely said it. As of now, it is rumors, but with the quotes that have come out, when Klopp was speaking, when he was asked about the ownership situation, he turned around and said, "Yeah, there is news or something, but nothing to tell you." Or I don't know. It just seems it's all too perfect at the moment. I don't know. It would be a shame if it all fell through. I mean, for people who have come out and publicly backed it, if you're going to at least, make yourself look like a hypocrite, you want it to be, legit. If we're still stuck with FSG after all this, it will leave a lot of egg on people's faces. But yeah, I would love clarity just to know. I'd love just to get it done and come out and at least tell us one way or another.
Cards on the table. If they buy Liverpool Football Club, can you can you can you stomach it? How would you feel about it?
Well, I've always said on this situation, and I've been consistent in what I've said, that while I would prefer not, while I would prefer not, I would prefer like someone with more money, but also clean, like Steve Ballmer or something like that. So while I would prefer we didn't have state-owned money and that things like that, I would probably, in all honesty, prefer it to our current situation. If I'm being completely honest, not that I would want it, but I would prefer, and I would get over it fairly quickly if they brought us shiny new toys like Kylian Mbappe.
See, I've been very vocal on this subject for a long time, and I had a realization during the World Cup. And if people think I'm just going to talk out my backside now, go back, watch the shows. You'll see what I'm talking about. I said to you, Paddy, that no matter what happens, I don't think I can live without Liverpool Football Club. I've seen the impact no football and no Liverpool during COVID and during the World Cup had on my mental health, on my well-being, on my excitement. And
Mm.
I just felt like there was a huge void in my life that I couldn't fill with anything else. So it wouldn't be my first, second, or third choice, but could I learn to live with it? Until we have all the details, I truly don't know. But am I opening up the possibility of becoming a hypocrite? I guess I am to some extent, yeah.
Well, I think that's the key point. Football and your football club like Liverpool, you can't ever really walk away from that. Let's be honest. There's other things in life you might have to walk away from at times when, positions come untenable, like a job, for example, or, another role. But you can't walk away from your football club because it's intrinsic to you. It's a part of your being. You can't walk away as much as you'll want to. Even fans of clubs that are doing very badly right now, getting relegated and stuff, as depressing as it is being a fan of that club, you're still tied to it, and you can't walk away. So while it would be a very challenging thing morally, with what's going on, I think, in all honesty, majority of fans will live with it, shall we say, and have to live with it because you can't walk away from the club.
So then the last question, Paddy, before we kind of end this section of the show, how do we think Jurgen Klopp would feel about it? Because what we know about Jurgen is that he has extreme social beliefs and how he feels the world should and shouldn't be. And I'm genuinely intrigued to see how Jurgen because he will be our moral compass and guide on this for a lot of us, because we absolutely idolize the man. And I would imagine that any project would want Jurgen Klopp involved. So how do you think Klopp would feel about this if the takeover is through?
At first, I was a bit worried about how he'd react, but in all honesty, he's been at the on the losing side and the bad side of oil money long enough now. He's lost out not I wouldn't say Real Madrid are oil money, they're not, but he's lost out on 2 Premier League titles by 1 point. So I think he's probably had enough of being underfunded and not backed financially. So I think, given he only has a few years left by his own admission in the managerial game, I think he'll learn to live with it too. And I think, in all honesty, he'll relish the chance to be able to spend that sort of money. And I think he could do wonders. If he's allowed buy who he wants, I back us to win everything.
I think a lot of how I feel about this will be guided by our manager, to be honest with you. I know that sounds a bit childish, but that's how strongly I believe and support in Jurgen. I'll criticize him, I'll moan at him for team selections, I'll say that he should speak out against the owners more, yada yada. But ultimately, I think he is a very good moral compass for the fan base.
Absolutely. And obviously, you can tell who's a part of the fan base only recently when people are so fickle in their back in the Klopp. But for me, myself and yourself, we'd never turn against Klopp. We'd be annoyed at him for certain things, but he is what we know, and whatever happens, he needs to be involved. So if these new owners would affect Klopp's future, then it totally changes my outlook on it, and then I probably wouldn't be willing to accept it. But I think that Klopp would be fine with this, because I think, as I said, he's had enough time of no money. So I think now he's like, you know what? He said he's not going to be managing until when he's 60, which is about 5 years away. So yeah, I think he'll be able to turn a blind eye and just get his players and have a bit of fun for the next few years. Because Lord knows that this Klopp Liverpool team has underachieved in terms of what they should have won, because we've been so close. Champions League final lost twice, Premier League title 1 point twice. So I think he'll be like, you know what, fuck it, I've had enough time of not getting any money. Let's have a party.
Right, my friends, you've heard what myself and Paddy have to say. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Have you a point that you'd like to make that we haven't seen? Let us know.